Welcome to the Worst of the Riot podcast. Coming up, what would we do about court storming in college basketball?
Also, is a better smelling office a good reason to go into work? And more on the Worst of the Riot podcast.
Now it's time for America's favorite game. It's Useless Knowledge.
It's time for some useless knowledge. I'm going to ask you guys some questions. You all are going to answer. And if you get the questions right, you win absolutely nothing. Today is National Tell a Fairy Tale Day.
What's your favorite fairy tale?
I don't know that I have a favorite. I haven't went through a fairy tale in a long time.
Oh, okay.
But I do have a question about them.
Okay.
There's many different versions of some of your favorite fairy tales. The French version of Rapunzel doesn't even have a happy ending. Instead,
Spoiler alert.
yeah. Instead of finding a happily ever after, the prince gets cursed with a pig's snout, and Rapunzel turns into a bad animal. What animal is this?
Whatever animal it is not going to be pleased with hearing you say that.
It would not be an animal that I would want to turn into.
Yeah, I don't think I'd want to turn into any animal. Maybe a kangaroo. 8772 RadioU if you think you know the answer to today's useless knowledge question of the day. Whether you get it right or wrong, you won't win anything, and we'll find out what the truth is.
Do yourself a favor and follow The Riot on Instagram at RadioU Riot.
Today's question of the day and the entire theme of useless knowledge is all about fairy tales. Isaiah has your question.
The French version of Rapunzel doesn't have a happy ending at all. Instead of finding a happily ever after, the prince gets cursed with a pig's snout, and Rapunzel turns into this animal.
I'm thinking we're talking French. We're talking fairy tales. Every fairy tale has this animal in it, I feel. And also, it makes sense because the French, what do the French love? Cheese. What does this animal love? Cheese. Mouse. I think she turns into a mouse.
Not a bad guess. The answer I was looking for was Rapunzel turns into a frog.
Ooh, they're kind of a reverse fairy tale.
Feels as if they usually start as a frog.
Yeah.
Like the princess and the frog. Or the prince and the frog.
Yeah.
Let's do some rapid fire. The very first tale of Cinderella was written in China around 850 AD. And since then, 700 versions have been told. And the very first one, Cinderella's slipper is made of blank, not glass.
Pillows.
No! No!
The answer I was looking for was gold. It was made of gold,
Ooh.
not glass.
Or pillows.
How about this one? In one of the earliest tellings of Goldilocks and the Three Bears, Goldilocks isn't a cute little girl. Instead, she's a blank.
Troll.
Wait for it. Here it comes.
She's a foul-mouthed old woman. In the original
I like that version.
How about this one? Some scholars believe the first telling of the Little Red Riding Hood actually originated in East Asia and was called the blank.
Piano.
The piano?
I don't know.
It was called the Tiger Grandmother instead of the Little Red Riding Hood.
Oh, okay.
Some
Interesting.
good guesses there.
Yeah, I was completely thrown off there. Some
Mad
days,
Lib's not your style.
yeah. Today, I just have a feeling. My brain feels like spaghetti, and normally it feels like something that's not tangled up. So,
Clearly.
yeah.
Disinformation, mispronunciations, bad impressions. That's Hudson. This is The Riot on Radio U.
Do you believe this, Isaiah? Do you believe it's possible for an individual to be addicted to Tinder?
Addicted seems like a strong word.
Compulsive? Can Tinder bring out compulsive behavior in somebody?
What's kind of like a never-ending little thrill.
Yeah.
You never know what's coming next.
You never know. And I have here at least one person who has had to seek treatment for his Tinder addiction. His name is Ed Turner. He's 27 years old. He's from the UK. And he recently had to find therapy because he claims he was addicted to Tinder. He would swipe 500 times a day.
500 is a crazy number. He has the unlimited pass.
He has to.
He's paying.
I was thinking, how much is this guy paying?
He's paying extra money for that unlimited amount of swipes.
But you know what? If you're paying, that's a sign of addiction, isn't it?
Could be so.
If you're paying for something that could easily also be free to you, that's a gateway at least. And so he was saying he was swiping at least 500 times on Tinder per day. And here's what's crazy. He says he had no intention of actually meeting or dating any of the women that he was swiping on Tinder. So now you're starting to think like, so what was the point? The point was he was addicted to the rush that he would feel when anybody would like his profile.
Oh, when he got a match?
When he got a match, that's what he was. That was the dopamine hit he was looking for. And it didn't matter if it went any further than that. In fact, it sounds like he didn't want it to go any further than that. All he wanted was to get other people to like him. And so obviously detrimental. He said validation from others was the only thing keeping me going. And so eventually he had to seek out treatment because you can't go through life swiping 500 times on Tinder per day and never getting a date.
And you have to think, like, he doesn't want a girlfriend. He doesn't want to go on dates. He just wants the high of people thinking that he's attractive. That's his whole thing.
Apparently, he says, he did go on to say, if a person didn't respond to me or didn't message me in the first place, it would crush me. I would get highs when I was getting a lot of matches with people that I found attractive, but it will always be followed by a crash because it's not sustainable.
So he's went through this a couple times.
Yeah.
It said he ended up actually starting a relationship with a girl he met offline, of course, in person.
Yeah.
But he still couldn't quit thinking about the apps. Made him feel like a bad partner. He said, I didn't do anything I never taught to a woman while I was in that relationship, but it did have an effect on me. That relationship ended.
Uh-huh.
No surprise. And then he went straight back to the apps again.
Oh, he had a traumatic experience, and then, and then it reared its head again. This is a cautionary tale. You might not be swiping 500 times a day, but I feel like these apps, they can mess with your head a little bit.
You can't pay for it. You definitely can't pay for it.
That's a sign. If you're considering paying for it, that's a sign you're relying too much on it. You're too reliant, and you need to look elsewhere. It's not like there's not many free options. You can, right? Couldn't you just use up all of the free swipes on different profiles? It all adds up. You don't have to pay. If
no
you really,
paying.
Yeah. I don't like it from a mental health standpoint, from a relationship standpoint, and from a financial standpoint. If you start paying for apps, it's a problem.
There's never been a can of worms they didn't open. The Riot, Radio U.
Apparently, we've all been eating cheese all wrong this entire time. Whether you're talking bags of the shredded cheese or the sliced cheese, blocks, they all have the Best By date on them, right?
Yeah.
And we follow that. But the Best By date is what? Like, it's usually like surprisingly far in the future.
Far down the line for cheese.
Yeah.
Cheese lasts a while.
I bet you if you bought a bag of cheese today, it would expire in, it's February now. What do you think, like June?
July, August.
Yeah, I mean, several months. But apparently that all changes once you open the cheese. going around on TikTok right now, somebody has discovered, Hauser Web family, that if you read any package of cheese, what you will see is the phrase use within 3 to 5 days of opening.
3 to 5 days.
Yeah.
No chance.
Yeah.
No chance.
3 to 5 days after you open the bag of cheese, you better be done with it or something. I don't know what the or what is. It just says use within 3 to 5 days of opening. Who's adhering to that? Who has ever adhered to that?
I don't have enough money for that, unfortunately.
That's right. That feels like a way to get you to just buy more cheese.
It's capitalism.
Yeah.
At its finest. I'm 25 years old.
Uh-huh.
I've eaten cheese that's months old.
Right.
No issues. Never had an issue with it.
Yeah. And if you're putting why even put the date on the bag then? Because they feel like those two things don't add up to me.
Yeah, for me that doesn't make any sense.
3 to 5 days. What do they claim? It doesn't say. This is how you know that it's just a money-making scheme from the cheese companies, because it doesn't even say or what. It just says use within 3 to 5 days.
Or you might feel a little sick.
Yeah. Or it might not be its best. Don't act like we didn't warn you.
Regina says just use your sense of smell and sight. I think so too.
That's what I'm saying. If it doesn't have mold on it, if it's all still the right color it's supposed to be, then I feel totally fine using it. I don't think this has been on every bag of cheese for a long time, apparently, and we're just realizing it now. So, I mean, we've all made it by just fine.
I don't really mess with the Best Buy dates too much. I don't pay too much attention to those.
You don't even care about them.
I don't really care about them too much. Because there's sometimes, like with my milk, where I can smell that my milk is bad before the Best Buy date is even hit.
Yeah. But then sometimes the milk, you hit the date and it's still fine.
It smells fine.
In fact, I've looked it up online. It says that milk can be good up to 7 days after the Best Buy date. So you can't even trust the dates.
You can't at all.
So I don't trust this phrase on this bag of cheese either. But then if you can't trust that, then it starts to make me wonder, what can I trust?
Very few of them.
Yeah.
Like my big one recently has been eggs. How do you know when eggs go bad? Hard to tell.
Until you crack them open,
Until you
right?
crack it open.
Yeah.
Like there's been times where I've used eggs many a days, many a weeks after.
After the date?
After the date.
Eggs I'm too scared to do that.
No fear.
I'm too scared to do that. I
No
throw them out
fear.
if they get close.
Oh, no fear.
Eggs maybe they're still cheap enough that I feel like I can do that. I don't know.
Add a little Riot to your Instagram feed. Follow @RadioU Official. The Riot. Radio U.
Last week was the AT&T outage that affected so many AT&T wireless customers. How much do you think AT&T owes each and every one of those customers that was without service for hours and hours on Thursday?
They owe them money?
Yeah. Do you think they do?
I don't really think they do.
You don't think they owe them anything?
I don't think so.
Well, then you must consider it very generous that AT&T has said that every customer affected by the outage on Thursday will receive a $5 credit on their statement.
$5 off.
Yeah.
That's pretty nice.
That
is pretty nice.
A nice little bonus, huh? Just
Seems
for
like a
the,
nice little
the
bonus.
small price to pay of what? Going like 12-ish hours? And a lot of those were overnight.
From 3:30 a.m. to noon.
Yeah. 9 hours. You were asleep for at least half of it. So what's $5? That feels pretty generous on behalf of AT&T.
Feels pretty nice.
Yeah.
I would take that.
I'd take $5 off my bill if I had AT&T. But you know what's nice about my service is it usually works. So they don't have any reason to credit me, I guess. AT&T. So if you did, I was talking about this with some people over the weekend. Is they sent out, I think, as I understand it, they sent out a text letting people know about this. But the people I was talking to were like, I don't know if it was a scam or not. I didn't know it was actually from AT&T or somebody like a spam thing trying to capitalize. And I didn't say this to them at the time, but now thinking about it, I don't think scammers are that quick. Like the typical scammer is not that on the ball. It's not that quick of a turnaround with scams to me.
But wouldn't that be a good scam, though?
It would be a good
That's
scam.
what makes for a good scam.
Yeah, click here to opt in to get your $5 credit because of the outage the other day. It would be. If I was a scammer, that would be maybe my thing is like capitalizing on current events might be what I would do. AT&T, of course, another thing said that the outage on Thursday was not caused by a cyber attack, contrary to popular belief. They said it was caused by the application and execution of an incorrect process used as we were expanding our network. Oh, isn't that convenient?
Somebody got fired.
Yeah. And that the problem was caused by them trying to make things better. They just wanted to slip that in. Hey, while we were trying to make things better for you, yeah, something went wrong. But keep in mind, we were trying to make things better for you.
Good PR from them.
Yeah, how
Great
convenient.
PR.
How convenient. In the meanwhile, they've let any cyber attacker know now how to take things down. You try to expand the network.
You try to make it better.
Yeah, you hack in, you try to expand the network. That'll take it down.
Hudson is the maple syrup, and Isaiah is the power protein flapjack. This is The Riot on Radio U.
Some companies, as more and more employees are returning to in-office work, it's been 4 years. Can we stop saying that? I said it, but that's what the story says. As employees come to terms,
Getting back into the hang of things now.
They've been back at the office, but maybe they're still, I feel like, still coming to terms with the fact that they have to work at the office now. Some employers are trying to find ways to make working in the office a little more enjoyable, including some companies such as real estate company Hines that are trying to craft their very own specific smells for their office buildings. Try to make the smell of the office building unique and something the employees will enjoy, and in turn make working in the office a more enjoyable thing and something that they would like to do. Listen to this quote from this is the co-CEO of real estate company Hines, who says that this is in a Wall Street Journal report. Each note was thoughtfully selected to evoke a sense of belonging. They literally would rather do this than just, like pay the employees more, give them better benefits, or
those cost money, Hudson.
Or it sounds like it costs money to design your own smell too. Does it not?
I feel like if you just put some Glade plugins into the walls, some air wicks, some clean linen, fresh linen.
When was the last place you went just because you wanted to smell it?
Probably the RadioU break room.
Yeah.
After somebody put some of that cinnamon bread in the toaster.
See, I was thinking Home Depot.
Oh, you like that Home Depot smell?
That's a great smell. I don't know anything about lumber, but sometimes I just go to that section of Home Depot just because I like the smell. But that's very few and far between.
I'm more of a baked goods kind of guy.
Baked goods.
When I walk through the grocery store, the baked goods section, I like that fresh bread.
Yeah.
There used to be a Wonder Bread building pretty close to where I lived. I used to drive past that all the time, and you could smell it in your car as you drove by.
Yeah.
You could smell the fresh bread.
Oh, kind of like the big brewery here. You can smell but it doesn't smell like beer. It smells like cereal. Because I guess that's what they use to make it.
Oh, really? I've never noticed
you never
that.
noticed that when you're driving on the highway?
I pass it like every time.
Yeah, I know. Roll your windows down.
And smell cereal?
You'll smell it. I used to live near it. Now, going back to the office buildings, putting the smell in as if that's going to make people happier. I don't think it's going to work, shockingly. But I think it will actually have an unintended effect because you don't go places often just because you like the smell. And I don't think the smell makes you all that much happier if you're in a place that you don't like. But what it will do is when you smell that smell, you'll think of how you're like whatever the other emotions that come along with being where you would smell that smell normally. And so it's just going to, once people leave this company later, if they smell something similar to this, they're going to remember how they hated working there.
So ruining smells for people.
It's exactly. But I guess if it's their own unique smell, then I guess you wouldn't smell it anywhere else.
I like a nice smelling space. The upstairs here smells better than the downstairs. But you would know that if you were upstairs all the time.
I guess so.
I'm not upstairs very often, so whenever I walk up there, I'm like, man, why does it smell so much better up here than it does down here on the first floor, where I mainly reside? And so I like a nice smelling atmosphere.
There could be a common denominator.
Mm-hmm. You think it's me?
Yeah, it could be.
No, it's just
or maybe it's just Jim the dog rubbing off on you.
Precisely.
You don't always have to agree with Isaiah to always disagree with Hudson. The Riot. Radio U.
You believe your phone is listening to you?
100%.
Yeah.
I'm certain of it, actually.
Everybody does, right? I think if I asked that to just about anybody, they would say the phone has to be listening. Even though I saw a story recently from a pretty reputable place that said that, like, there's no actual basis for it besides everybody's anecdotal stories that they could tell just about every single day. For me, was I talking to you or somebody else about us giving away free massages?
Somebody else.
Well, I was talking about it here. I was a suggestion that I was thinking about. And
Yeah, you need to keep your suggestions to yourself.
I didn't mean you and I giving away the massages. I meant coupons. And then wouldn't you know it, I got a ad on my phone for the very massage place that I had mentioned. And I hadn't talked about that place ever. And I don't remember ever seeing ads for it. And then what do I see? An ad for the massage place. Too coincidental, don't you think?
That's what always happens.
Yeah, that's what always happens. And so even if we're told that the phone isn't always listening, we all know that it has to be listening one way or another. But you know what? You know what we don't do? Throw our phone into the river, most of us, and like live a life without it.
No, that'd be crazy talk.
That would be crazy. And why do you think that? Why do you think we just keep on dealing with the phone listening to us?
Because it doesn't really matter to us. It doesn't affect us. Does it really affect you? No.
It feels like it doesn't hurt you that much. And the phone, I mean, for all the negatives about it, seems like it gives us a lot too.
That's why whenever I'm around my phone, I just say, free Wendy's coupons, free Wendy's coupons, free Wendy's coupons.
Has that worked for you yet?
Not yet. I'm hoping
Yeah.
to get an advertisement for that.
That's they're just going to start showing you the story that says the phone's not listening to you.
Yeah.
Is what the ad you'll be getting is. But yeah, the phone, like, for all of the negatives that come with your phone, and supposedly it's listening to you the whole time, and nobody likes that, but you still deal with it because it still gives you a lot of benefits. And yet, like, one of the things I think, one of the anti-God arguments is, I don't need somebody that's always watching me, that's always paying attention to me. Oh, you mean like your phone does, and you still deal with that? And your phone, like, if it is always listening to you, there's definitely a chance that could be used negatively against you one day. I'm telling you that Jesus is not watching you and saving up a bunch of blackmail material on you one day. Like your phone technically possibly could. Jesus is paying attention to you because he loves you. Jesus is paying attention to everything you do because he cares about you and wants to help you through life. Your phone is only helping you because that's good for the companies that make your phone. God's helping you because he loves you. He doesn't get actually much in return. It's just about his love for you. He cares about you that much. If you're ready to find out what that's actually like, why don't you try to talking directly to him? Say, hey, God, I want to know more about what you're like. I want to stop with the eavesdropping and start with a real conversation. And let God talk to you and see what happens. You want to know more? Check out RadioU.com/free gift.
Do yourself a favor and follow The Riot on Instagram at RadioU Riot.
It's time for our Monday tradition, the box office breakdown, letting you know what made money and what didn't in theaters over the weekend, and also taking a look at what we might have watched recently. Let us know what you watched recently and if it was any good at 8772 Radio U. The number one movie at the box office this weekend was Bob Marley, One Love, standing strong at the top with $13 million.
Doesn't feel like much.
Not much. It was not a big weekend for movies in general. It wasn't the worst weekend as far as the total box office is concerned of 2024, but it wasn't good. And you can tell because Bob Marley, One Love was number one with $13 million. Number two, the highest money-making new release over the weekend, Demon Slayer. You know what that is?
Animated action.
Yeah. Anime. Which is why I don't know anything about it. $11 million. Number three, Ordinary Angels. We talked about that in the weekend watch list on Friday. A little bit of a inspirational story with Alan Ritchson and Hilary Swank, I believe. $6 million. Followed by Madam Web. They've got to be upset about that. Sony does. That's $6 million for Madam Web. And then number five, this is unbelievable. I don't know if this says more about this movie or more about the state of theaters in general. Number five is Migration, the Duck movie.
Still hanging around. I'm
Still
shocked by this.
At number five. It's been in theaters for 10 weeks. Granted, it only made $3 million, but that's enough to get it into the top five of the box office this weekend.
You've seen Migration, haven't you? Have you seen it?
Yes.
Is it good?
No.
It has decent ratings. 72% on the tomato meter. 88% audience score. Pretty good.
It's it's fine.
Nothing to write home about.
No, yeah. Ironically, because it's like them migrating.
Mm-hmm.
Isaiah, what have you watched recently?
I didn't watch much over the weekend. Saturday night, I did a game night with some friends.
Nice.
So I was busy. We were watching some college basketball in the background, but nothing really. And then yesterday, I watched basketball all day long.
Mm-hmm.
The Lady Bucks, the men's Bucks.
Yeah.
And then the Cavs. And then at nighttime, I watched a little bit of Modern Family.
Look at you, peeling your face away from the screen a little bit.
And Friday night, I don't remember if I watched anything.
What about like Thursday?
Thursday? That's so long ago.
Did you watch anything on Wednesday?
I can't be too sure.
Tuesday?
A week back?
Yeah.
Most likely no.
That's when the movies are discounted at the theaters, so.
Have not watched a movie in about a week and a half.
For me, I watched A Dog's Journey. Have you seen that? A Dog's Purpose. Which one? I watched.
Purpose.
I've seen both of them recently now. There's two. The Dog's Purpose, whichever one.
I haven't seen that one. I heard that's a tough one there.
Yeah.
Dennis Quaid.
Yes.
A Dog's Purpose.
And the dog has the same voice as Olaf. It's the same guy, Josh Gad. You can't help but think. I mean, it's the same to me. Spoiler alert for The Dog's Purpose, Dog's Journey, whichever one is which. They're very similar because they're the same series. It's all about the dog dying and getting reincarnated over and over again. So several scenes of the dog dying. I feel like you should know that going into it. I didn't know.
That's A Dog's Purpose, by the way.
Yeah, Dog's Purpose. And that didn't affect me all that much, but my wife cried every single time. Every dog death. And then there are several. She cried. Also watched, trying to get through all the Oscar movies, Zone of Interest. That's a movie. Interesting movie. Not bad. It's a movie about Nazi Germany. And so no surprise, it's up for an Oscar, right? But here's what's interesting to me is every year there's several movies about Nazi Germany and like the World War II and stuff like that. This one, the first one I've seen in a while that is a different perspective on it. And by that, I do not mean pro-Nazi.
That's what I was wondering. Is it pro-Nazi?
No, yeah, it's not pro-Nazi. That would be a different perspective. Fear not.
Nobody's came out with that one yet.
No. They have. It's not gotten a lot of traction for a good reason. It is an interesting movie. Not the most exciting, though. It's very Oscar-y, very strange in its boringness. I think most people find it boring. But it is a different take on Nazi Germany. If you saw anything interesting recently, let us know at 8772 Radio U. That's your box office breakdown.
The only thing Isaiah loves more than the riot is himself.
Someone who probably still lives with his mother and hates himself.
You're listening to The Riot on Radio U.
Isaiah, do you agree with this statement? Being a man trying to buy body wash is the worst experience?
I think it's kind of exciting.
It's thrilling, isn't it?
Getting some new scents in there.
Yeah. Do you want to go with something new or do you want to go with the tried and true? It's always a thrilling adventure, but not for some men, including for one guy on TikTok who has gotten a lot of publicity, a lot of views, a lot of likes, a lot of support for saying that he thinks it's too difficult for men to buy deodorant and body wash. And can you guess why he would think such a thing?
I can't be sure. I feel like this is a wild statement from a man.
Well, have you ever had this? You're walking down the body wash aisle, you're looking at all the men's fragrance. Well, first you see the women's fragrances, and they're like coconut, orange peel, vanilla. And then you look at the men's, and they're like bear glove, wolf thorn, dragon blast. That's the problem. The women's ones tell you what they smell like, what they're supposed to smell like anyways. The men's do not.
Timber. One of my personal favorites.
Fiji.
Oh,
Love
don't
Fiji.
even get me started on Fiji.
Yeah. Now, where this man sees this as a bug, I see it as a feature. I like that they have cool names. It makes me feel like I'm some kind of conqueror. It makes me feel like, wolf thorn. All of a sudden, I'm a Viking. I put that on. I feel much more manly than I actually am. And it's all because of the name.
He's complaining mostly about Old Spice.
Yeah.
One of their signature scents. Swagger. What's that smell like? I don't know.
It smells like swagger.
I know at my house I have Deep Sea. Very, very good. See, I don't think that the name matters to me at all. I just smell it.
Yeah.
Like Fiji smells great. I don't know what it smells like.
Right.
I don't know what that scent is. But I also am more so for deodorant. When I'm going through these, I am going by smell. Body wash, I am going for almost just the cheapest one available.
Yeah.
Because I know like that my body wash smell does not matter.
You don't think it sticks with you?
No.
Maybe you're just not hairy enough.
I've never gotten that. I've never gotten a comment on if I didn't put on cologne.
Yeah.
Where I've just used body wash and someone's been like, man, whatever you're wearing, it smells good.
Yeah. You don't smell yourself, though?
I smell myself.
Yeah.
But what is that doing for me?
Well, I like to smell good for myself, but how many
dollars
worth is that?
Yeah,
Probably
not worth any to me.
not much.
Right now I have I think it's a bergamot and wood.
Oh, I love bergamot.
That's what I'm smelling like right now.
Yeah, bergamot.
And nobody's complimented me on that for my body wash, but it was on sale.
The other problem is too, if you see, I'm like you. I smell it. I don't care if it's body wash, deodorant, if it's not something I bought before, if I'm looking, I don't care what the name is. The only thing, and even if I was looking at women's stuff that says vanilla on it, well, different brands smell different anyways. They can all say vanilla. What does it actually smell like? I always smell. It's got to pass the smell test. I don't care if I look like a crazy man standing there in the aisle, opening up every body wash. I'll do it.
Oh, I'll smell them. I'm smelling everything.
Yeah.
I'm smelling until my nose starts feeling weird. The smells don't smell right.
That's right. Until I accidentally smell too close and I get a little soapy little thing hanging off my nose. So that's your problem right there. You're too self-conscious, this guy, to open up the bear glove and smell what it smells like. But also, once you do smell like the Old Spice smells, for example, how would you accurately describe those anyways? What do they smell like?
We don't know.
There's no way to do it. So why not give it a cool name and a cool design and go from there?
Yeah, for me, it's always just the cheapest option available. I went to the store with my girlfriend yesterday, and she was getting things like that.
Yeah.
And I know that I can never complain about the complexity of me picking out body wash or deodorant after watching her pick out like 7 different skin things.
Yeah.
That just I don't even know what those things are that she's putting on.
Right.
And so for me to complain about the scent not being clear enough, that seems like blasphemy.
That's right. Yeah. Think about all the different products that women have to buy. They feel the need to buy that we don't even We don't even consider.
I don't even know what it is. I don't know what it is. She was putting things in the carts.
What is concealer?
And I was like, what even is this? This is the third lotion we put in here. And apparently this one doesn't break her out. I don't know. I'm using body wash on my face. I don't understand.
We're not sure who behaves worse, the Riot or their dogs.
I don't even know how to behave like a real human being.
The Riot, Radio U.
The big story in sports over the weekend has to be the Duke-Wake Forest basketball game, where Wake Forest was the home team, pulled off the upset in some ways over Duke. Duke ranked, Wake Forest not ranked. Wake Forest was the favorite. So is that really an upset?
It's an upset.
Whether or not it was an upset, it was enough for their fans to storm the court, which led to Duke star Kyle Filipowski suffering a knee injury. He was crashed into by one of the fans storming the court, and at this time, the extent of the knee injury is still unknown, but nevertheless, he was injured. It has all kinds of people now clamoring for this to be the end of court storming. Isaiah, is this the end, or can there be a solution, or what should we do?
The NCAA is going to try to make this the end of it, because we had the issue earlier this season with like probably the biggest name in college basketball right now.
Men or women.
Which is Caitlin Clark.
Yeah.
And then this one to a Duke player, a blue blood college basketball team, one of the best players in the country.
Yep. And depending on how bad the injury is, this could really crush their chances in the tournament. And the NCAA would love to have Duke do well in the tournament, of course.
And so I think they're going to do something. The NCAA will.
Yeah.
But what will they do? That is the big question mark.
What will they do, and what can they do?
Because it's the masses. It's the masses. How can you stop the mass of students that are going to run on the floor after a big win? And I know that people are going to argue that this is the fun of college basketball. This is what makes it so electric. But is it?
Yes.
You think it is?
I do. Yeah.
I don't think it is.
I was getting so angry over the weekend. Not that he was injured, but all the people saying, see, this is why we should have banned court storming years ago. And to them, I was like thinking to myself, because I don't argue online, but I was just thinking, like, how many times has the court been stormed and nothing bad has really happened until these two recent times where Caitlin Clark got the wind knocked out of her, and many people argued that she was looking for the contact. It was easily avoidable, it seems. A lot of things seem easily avoidable when you watch them in slow motion, but the same could be said for Kyle Filipowski here. Some people are saying he initiated the contact. Either way, even if he did, if it is a very serious injury, it's the first very serious injury to a player caused by court storming ever, and court storming has gone on longer than you or I have ever been alive. I don't know. Longer than we've been alive. So because of one time, we're going to get rid of it.
They will.
Maybe some changes could be made, but you're right. You can't get rid of it, because how are you going to keep the masses at bay? If the students want to storm, they're going to storm.
Well, what they'll say is, then it's an immediate forfeit. But that's a horrible way to do it.
That's stupid, yeah.
Because then you're punishing the teams for stupid fans.
Yeah.
And you can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
You also could put up an invisible fence and have everybody wear a shock collar. That's my first one.
That's a good idea.
I like that one. For me, like, I understand that it's a safety hazard. And when you watch the video of the Duke player that gets hurt, the thing that really stinks is it's the college students running on the floor, like celebrating right in his face, and which I understand why. I mean, if it was me in that moment, I would want to punch all the kids in the face. Yeah, would you not? Like, you just lost a game.
I understand. Yeah,
like, I get to where the players are coming from, and do I think that this is part of the really, like, the funness of college basketball? I think it is. Yeah. Do I think it takes away if they don't storm the court? Like, the fun part of college basketball is the start of the game to the buzzer beater. After that, me as a fan watching from home, do I get that much more benefit from the court storming? I think it's a cool part of the game. Yeah. Do I think it's as electric as they're making it out to be right now? I don't think it is.
I feel like, I will say this. I've never stormed a court. I feel like over the years it's gotten too prevalent. It happens too often. Like in this case, maybe Wake Forest.
Like Duke isn't the number 1 team in the country.
No, yeah,
So what are you storming the court for?
yeah. I don't know. It
What are they
feels-
ranked 7? They're ranked 5.
Yeah,
Does it feel like I mean, it happens anytime. If you beat a top 10 ranked team,
yeah.
you're storming the court.
It happens way too often.
Would
now.
you
It's
rather-
not special.
Yeah, would you rather keep court storming, like you
Uh-huh.
can still do it, but the students have to sit farther away and the atmosphere during the game isn't as great? Probably
Yeah.
not. I would rather have the students right on the court, making it an electric atmosphere, and then if they don't get to storm the court, fine with me.
Yeah, I still don't know how they can control it
They're going to
without
do
doing something outrageous that would ruin things even further. And do you really want to do that for one guy getting hurt?
See, I would rather have the electric atmosphere. I'd rather have the kids on the floor.
Yeah.
That's what I'd rather have.
Disinformation, mispronunciations, bad impressions. That's Hudson. This is The Riot on Radio U.
Our first ever hired or fired. You can let us know your thoughts at 8772 Radio U. It's happened to a friend of mine. New employee. They're going out to their first ever office lunch where, the new employee, it's on the company's dime, and the employee, we'll call him Mac. He ordered 2 entrees on the company card. Hired or fired?
The company card's always a big issue.
Yeah. I mean, the boss.
Expensing anything is always a big issue.
Mm-hmm. And to be clear, this is like you're out to dinner with the boss is paying, and you order 2 entrees for yourself. And it's understood this was a clear scenario where it's not like, oh, I didn't know or whatever. He didn't offer to pay for one of them or both. It was just he knew that this was, if I'm getting a free meal, I'm getting a free meal. He's going down swinging, hired or fired.
And then you ask on the other end, if the company is paying for your lunch,
Yeah.
do you feel obligated to get something that's maybe less expensive, middle of the road?
Mm.
Do you owe the company money?
Well, if they're offering, right? I mean, what are the parameters? I feel like
Can I get filet mignon steak? Or is that wrong for some reason? Can I not get lobster tails?
And how do you know where to draw the line?
Is it wrong?
Yeah. If you get the second most expensive thing on the menu.
Are you in the clear?
Yeah. Is that fair? 8772 Radio U. I don't know where to draw the line, and is this problematic with the employee doing this on the very first time he has this gall?
Is he taking the eat both entrees? Is he taking the second one home? What's happening here?
Took the second one home.
Took the second one home. So he literally just took his meal home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
8772 Radio U. Hired or fired? Ordering 2 entrees on the company card in your first ever meal out with the company. 8772 Radio U. Let's see what people are saying next.
Add a little Riot to your Instagram feed. Follow at RadioU Official. The Riot. Radio U.
The first meal out on the company card with the boss paying, he ordered not 1, but 2 entrees, and with the purpose of, I think this is important, taking 1 home is like what he was intending from the very beginning. Regina texted in. She says, definitely no, especially taking 1 home. He's out of there. But Philip says, hired. It's not usually in policy. It's just frowned upon. So you can't fire the guy just for that, which is a good point. I don't know if that would hold up in court, would it? Aaron says, fired. The company offered to pay for your meal today, not tomorrow.
Love that.
Yeah, that's a pretty good look at it.
She said, if you can get 2, then why not get 4 and have dinner for the week? Now, if you're on a business trip and work is planning to pay for tomorrow's food anyway, then it's okay.
Interesting.
I agree with that too.
That would still be interesting if you're on a business trip, right? You're at a conference for the week, and you order on the first night. You go to whatever restaurant you go to. You're like, I really like this. I'm ordering a second meal here, but then you have to skip the next day, right?
Yeah, then
You can't
that's your
go
lunch
out
for
the next
tomorrow.
day, yeah.
Well, yeah, it's your lunch for tomorrow.
Yeah, but
I think that's fair.
still feels like people would take advantage of that. Yeah. But you can't fire the person just for this, though. But I guess that the spirit of hired or fired. I mean, like, do you want to keep the employee or not? I feel like you don't. I feel like this is a sign that what other ways are they going to take advantage of you as an employer?
Yeah, this is an immediate no. That just seems a little bit too much for me. There's no chance I'm doing this.
Yeah.
I'd be pretty upset with my employee if I pay for their dinner and they decide to get 2 to take 1 home.
Yeah.
That's crazy talk.
Is it okay if they order 2 and eat both there?
No.
Does that change it? They're
It
really
doesn't make it
hungry.
as egregious
They're
because you're not
hungry.
taking 1 home. But ordering 2 entrees is blasphemy.
What
no
about
chance.
an entree and an appetizer?
I would
Where do
rather.
we draw the line? We got to draw a line.
I would rather them order 1 entree that's just more expensive
Yeah.
than them order 2 entrees, because 2 entrees, that just seems as if you're doing too much. You would never
yeah.
You would never do that by yourself. So what are you doing on my dollar doing that? No chance.
That's a good question though.
You're only getting an appetizer if I offer it. If I'm there and I'm the boss.
Yeah.
You're not asking for an appetizer.
All
No
for your own
chance.
self.
Yeah, no.
I don't know. I think now it feels like you got to know the person.
Justin says, if you're my employee, you're not fired, but I'm definitely watching every single transaction you make from now on.
Yeah. You know what I would do? Here's my thing. Not fired, but I am not ever taking you out to lunch again.
Mike says dinner should not be more than 2 hours of pay.
Interesting. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I think he might have solved this one. Everybody keep that in mind when you're ordering. I always just went by like, you want the other person to order first. And I think that applies to.
That's what Dee said here.
Yeah.
She said ordering 2 entrees is stupid. She said second, when I'm out and I know someone else is paying, I gauge what I buy based on their comparable price to what they're ordering or what I'm able to afford.
You know what's funny though is occasionally I do that, and with some people I know that even if I order less than them, if I order cheaper than them, sometimes they'll do the kind of parent thing of like, come on, I'm taking you out. Order something good. You came here and you're gonna order that. Come on, order something nice. So you do run that risk.
Yeah, but then I just say I'm a simple man.
Yeah, that's better than the alternative of them getting upset with you because you ordered too much.
They're like, really, chicken tenders, what you're getting here? I'm like, I'm a simple man, brother. It doesn't take much to make me happy.
Ruth's Chris, I didn't even know they had.
Hudson is the maple syrup, and Isaiah is the power protein flapjack. This is The Riot on Radio U.
If you think about the cost of cereal for a family versus what they might otherwise do, it's going to be much more affordable for dinner. What do you think about that comment?
I haven't bought cereal in a while. Is it pretty cheap?
Cheaper than ground beef? Cheaper than, what else would you eat for dinner?
Chicken.
Cheaper than chicken. You think about it.
Like a chicken quesadilla?
From, like, that you make yourself?
Yeah.
But you think you got to buy tortillas, you got to buy cheese, you got to buy chicken. You think buying a box of cereal and milk probably cheaper, right?
But less nutritionally valuable.
I don't know. It's got a lot of those.
Those
vitamins in it.
No.
The milk has protein.
Quit it. Me and my girlfriend argue about cereal all the time.
What do you mean? It's very healthy for you.
Cereal is probably the worst food that you could indulge in.
You go on
it's the most useless, I will say.
You look at the side of the box. It's nothing but 100% on there. 100%, 80%, 40%. Give me another food that does that for you. All those percents.
I myself have a hard stance against cereal.
You're anti-cereal, so you're not going to agree. That comment, that was a direct quote from Gary Pilnick, who is the CEO of Kellogg's, trying to get people to buy cereal for dinner.
Shocker.
Because everything else is so expensive.
The CEO?
Yeah.
Of Kellogg's pushing cereal?
Yeah.
Doesn't add up.
So some people are getting upset. Some people are getting upset that he would do this. It's like, I mean, it's his job. He's the CEO.
Makes sense.
So I'm not going to get upset with him for doing that, for trying to sell cereal in another avenue. Like, why not? And I don't mind either, or I don't adhere to the different meal of the day food rules, I've always questioned why sausage, bacon, eggs. Why does that tend to be a breakfast only thing? Who came up with those rules?
But I love it.
I know we should have those all day long. They are good for any meal of the day. They're delicious. Cereal, if it's good for breakfast, why can't it be good for any meal of the day? Now you're saying you don't think cereal is good for you at all.
I mean, I like cereal.
Uh-huh.
I haven't had it in a long time, but cereal tastes great.
Yeah.
I love eating cereal.
Uh-huh.
But I don't think it's much of a dinner.
But why not?
It has no nutritional value.
That the side of the box disagrees that nobody loves milk more than you, and cereal, an integral part of it, is milk.
Not filling me up for dinner.
You got to eat a lot to fill you up. That is true. But I don't know. I mean, yes, it does sound. It
like
sounds crazy.
Yeah, if you're trying to save money, eat cereal for dinner. Dinner. Same thing with ramen.
I think that's what he's saying. Cereal more nutritious than ramen.
Yeah, so you can eat that for dinner.
And nobody's saying don't eat ramen for dinner.
No, you can eat cereal for dinner. I would never argue that you can't do that.
Now it would be.
I don't think you're gonna be full, but I think you could eat it for dinner.
Yeah.
And for some people, my girlfriend does eat it for dinner from time to time. I always argue that's a horrible dinner, but if you want to save money, if you're on a budget, cereal's a great dinner.
It is kind of wild for him to say. He literally said the cost of cereal for a family versus what they might otherwise do. This definitely feels more of a single, if you're single, because it would be wild to come home, hey, I'm home from work and, dinner's out on the table for the family of 4. And it's like, here's your cereal and milk. Pour your own. Say when. Like that would be wild. But I don't know that in many ways, I don't know that it's worse than a lot of other dinner options. And if it saves money, I don't see the problem with it.
Regina says cereal only lasts an hour on my stomach. I probably feel similarly so.
Yeah.
It's more like a snack to me. But if you can get away with eating cereal for dinner, what's cereal? $5 a box. You could have that for dinner every day of the week.
If you're buying Kellogg's, yeah.
Yeah, $5.
Store brand, you could get like a $2 box.
You could get a week of dinner for $5.
Which isn't bad. That's not bad at all.
No, that's super cheap.
I do always feel like I'm lying to myself when I eat cereal, though, because I'll pour a bowl and milk, and I'm like, this will be enough, and then I always wind up refilling the bowl if I'm eating cereal as like a meal. That's how it goes. I just need to get a bigger bowl.
It's not very filling, no.
Yeah.
Find more Riot content online. Riot.radiou.com.